What's going on, everybody? Today I have my new favorite farming location. It's very much like the ship or library. So if you're going ahead and doing other activities, you can go ahead and farm relatively easy in these locations. So let's not waste any time and jump right into the spots. All right, so today we're actually going to be heading over to the Chassar Sea. And I did want to quickly mention that I have been testing out a few other spots for those of you that are curious out there. When we're testing out a spot, a lot of these actually have potential where there are monsters that are there and you can have them close together or people close together to kill off those monster spawns. However, in order to test this and for them to work properly, you need to bring a full group of 4 because oftentimes areas like, for example, the Ice Clan village that I tested the other day did not work because the spawn rates are super low. A few other ones that ended up being like that, at least when I tested, was around the Fetid Swamp. Another one was Mount Zvane over here in the Sanctified Earth Monster, but not the circle path, but this box sort of thing up here. I tried to go ahead and put everyone into 4 corners, and that did not work either. So it really does take a little bit of testing with a group in order for this to be successful. And one of the spots, as I mentioned, is going to be the Chassar Sea here in the Chamber of Sacrifice. This is a very excellent spot. There's also a few other ones around here that I might showcase later on. But for today, we're going to head over to the Oasis and jump right into this new spot. This one is pretty interesting because it has a lot of potential rather than just being a very basic, okay, these are your 4 set spawns. Really, you can get a lot of extra value from this if you decide to put in some extra work. So we're going to go ahead and head right over to the Chamber of Sacrifice. And you can see here there's a couple rooms. There's also a couple rooms down here. We're going to mainly focus on these 2 higher rooms on the map. And when we head over here, we're going to see all the different monsters spawn in. And it looks like there might be someone doing a bounty here. There are a few people that go ahead and do bounties here. So you have a couple spawns on this side of the room. There's also 2 more spawns on the this side of the wall of the Chamber of Sacrifice. And then there's also another skeleton spawn in the western or eastern corner. And then there's a whole nother room with 4 spawns, 1 on each corner, as you can see here, as well as a potential extra monsters that you can kill. And I'll go ahead and showcase that right here. If you go ahead and walk along this path, there's oftentimes monsters that spawn around this area, as well as around this area that you can go ahead and kill off if you decide to move more often. But the basic premise here is, of course, we're going to be lazy farming, or we're going to be semi-AFK because you only have to kill the monsters in your area. Now, obviously, it depends on how much you want to work for this, but oftentimes you'll have to have one person over here so that you can pick up that spawn and this spawn over here in the south area. Another person on the eastern side here to pick up this spawn, as well as the spawn where I'm standing at now. And then you're also going to have 2 people in this larger room, 1 on either side, either going north to that northeastern spot right here, or someone going side to side here on this bottom area of the box. It doesn't really matter. All you need is 2 people, 1 on either side to pick up 2 spawns each, and you can go ahead and absolutely kill a bunch of monsters. Now, another way to go about this is being much more lazy and just relaxing and staying in this main room. However, the XP rates and the legendary drop rates are going to be significantly lower. And I'll go ahead and swap over to a party view when we were farming this as a party, so you could check out what it was like when we were there as a group of 4. So right behind me, we have the party farm, and it just so happens I ended up picking up a legendary right off the bat. But you can see here, we have 2 people in the northern room, as well as 2 people in the southern room. And we were kind of figuring this out as we went. We did do a lot of testing afterwards to verify some of the XP rates and the legendary drop rates. However, I did just want to record some of the early footage so you know what it was like. And you can see here, we're actually at a kill streak of 260. So if you go ahead and are semi-active here to where you're actually picking up some of the extra spawn points, you can actually get some significant kill streaks. Now, where I was standing and the way we were handling this, I actually got to relax a lot more because one of the other party members was doing a lot more than what they should have been doing, or at least their parts. So they were doing extra work. And that's perfectly fine with me because I, could just sit around and get some extra experience for doing less work. However, if you decide, or you have a lot of party members doing their own part, you can get some massive kill streaks here for randomly staying in the same spots. Now you can see above our head, we're actually in an experience shrine area right now as well, because a shrine spawns in this room just to the south of where I'm standing. And you could pick up that experience shrine and give it to the whole squad. So you have a couple of options for shrines. And on top of that, we also have the option for some quests in this area. One of the quests that spawns is the monster area, where 6 monsters spawn, as well as a cursed chest spawns in the southern room. No bosses in the area, at least from what I experienced during this time, which is a little unfortunate. But you do have the option to go ahead and pick up a few of the quests, which is really important for you out there to pick up your extra enchanted dust. That is a massive bottleneck for a lot of players, especially for those of you starting later. And even for me now, I oftentimes run out of enchanted dust myself. So it's always nice to get those quests done. Now, one other thing with the Shasar Sea spot is the lost artifacts on the left-hand side. Now, the lost artifacts happens when you go ahead and kill monsters in the Shasar Sea. You have a chance of dropping a scroll. Now, this scroll you can go ahead and return to encampment to go ahead and claim the reward, but I believe before that you have to go ahead and just jump over to this area, break some pots, and then take those. When you break those pots, pick up the scroll and then return it to the Tabri's encampment. I have done this on a previous video for you all, but you can get some extra loot from there, perhaps legendaries, glowing shards, also some crafting materials, very similar to the previous spot where I was fighting my shadow clone. Except this one's a little bit longer, so I would only recommend really doing this if you've gone ahead and backed for the bestiary or some other, maybe just doing bounties or doing it and turning it in later, because it is a heavy detour for a okay reward. So that is this spot here. And for the final kind of calculations that I were able to come up with the XP rates and the legendary items, we were able to get about, at least me personally, about 85k experience per minute, which is actually better than the ship. However, this is a little bit more active than the ship, and so if you want to relax as much as possible, perhaps just pick up your your crew and go straight over to the ship and just sit over there. Also, the legendary item drop rate ended up being about 3 legendaries an hour for me. Again, this is with Treasure Hunter. I always run Treasure Hunter in the open world. And if you see this and you farm, I was only able to farm for about 8 to 9 hours in this spot. And so the sample size is a little small, so it might be a little bit less or a little bit more legendaries per hour, but that's what I was able to get, and it is very consistent with a lot of other spots that I've tested for hundreds of hours. So there you go. There's the new spot. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know if anyone has actually been using the spots, because I have not seen anyone talk about this one. It's a little bit, that was kind of hidden off into the corner. Shasar Sea is not some place that a lot of people go to, but that will be it, and I will see you for the next video.